Hello.
Oh, sorry. Like my voice just went.
Uh-oh.
Oh my God. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the commentary zone. As you enter the room, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and notification bell, and most importantly, tell a friend. Okay. All right. So this is our weekly Bravo in review. And sadly, I think we're losing two of our shows.
But we're getting two new ones, so I'm happy about that. Because the two we're losing weren't that big of a deal, if we're being honest.
Yeah. Yeah. So this week in our Bravo Week in Review, we are doing The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 13, Episode 21, Reunion Part 3, Married to Medicine, Season 8, Episode 10, Ain't No Party Like a Self-Love Party, Below Deck Sailing Yacht, Season 2, Episode 11, Crash Boom Bang, and then Real Housewives of Dallas, Season 5, Episode 18, Reunion Part 2, and The Real Housewives of New Jersey, season 11, episode 13, The House of Horrors season finale. That was a quick season for Jersey.
Yeah, it came across as very short as well.
Yeah, that was like a quick bitch smack and gone. Like, wow. Okay. All right. Well, all right. So let's start off with The Real Housewives of Atlanta reunion part 3, and this is the final part of the reunion. Any thoughts?
Thank goodness. This could have been done. This really could have been done in like one 90-minute segment, if we're being honest.
Well, to tell the honest truth, the bang came after the reunion with everything that dropped on Portia.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't even remember anything that happened in this stupid reunion or in the season. Like this is crazy, but it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's getting us our interest peaked for next season.
Right, but how long do we have to wait for next season though? That's the problem.
I'm sure they'll get them in there to tape, to film soon enough.
I hope so.
Were there any highlights to this part 3 for you? Anything that you liked, anything that stood out, or anything that you absolutely hated?
I mean, it was just this was so lackluster because it was just circular conversation. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
there was no real resolve to anything.
Is there ever though?
Well, when we get to Dallas, I felt there was resolve.
Oh,
This
okay.
this didn't give me like a resolve because y'all are still talking about something that happened months ago that really wasn't relevant. I mean, them. I kind of felt like to a point outside of Candy, I felt like certain people were too invested in the whole Bolo situation and finger pointing. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, Kenya, why are you still concerned with who Portia sleeps with? It really doesn't matter. You know, Drew, why are you concerned about um Latoya and the prophet? And my thing is this: what I didn't like with Drew is the fact that you talk so highly of this prophet, he's gonna bless your baby, but then as soon as you thought he was messing with Latoya, oh, did you look up his record? Did you check him out? He got a whole lot of stuff out there. I'm like, well, he
Why
was
did
all
she do
good.
that?
I'm like, he was all well and good as long as he wasn't messing with or allegedly messing with Latoya. I just didn't
Mm-hmm.
like that. I don't like things of that nature.
You know what kind of irked me on this was, I think it was Marla was like, does anyone know why we even have this dungeon theme? And it was because, and everybody, well, including myself, thinking it's because, we did the dungeon bachelorette party. But then they took it
Right.
way back
Yes.
to rehash 4 years ago, which I
Mhm.
thought we settled.
Correct.
Why bring that back up again? Like, that was a reach for me.
Reach really wasn't the word. If we're being honest, reach was. I was so. It was just.
It was
I,
disappointing.
I took it as like, are we really doing this again?
Why these girls have finally come to a better place? Why would you want to make them take a step back? Unnecessary. Unnecessary. And shame on, I think it was Marlo and Kenya who were driving that narrative. Shame on them. Sorry. Not here for it.
Mm-mm.
I didn't really understand what Shamia was doing there because she really said, what, 10 words?
Well, she said more than Cynthia, so.
And I would have preferred if they had brought up Fallon after hearing all of this.
Exactly.
Even though she was only in three scenes, three pieces or 3 episodes, I would have liked to hear from her, because if Shamia was up there, you know, defending herself from being a lapdog, they could have brought up Fallon.
I do agree with that.
You know, but that's just me. What'd you think about the crab cake that ended the show?
It was a fitting way to end the season because Candy was upset. Candy was gonna get her crab cake.
I felt happy that she finally got a crab cake.
It looked good though. I'm not gonna say in front. It looked good.
Yeah. I didn't even realize that was Ralph who was serving them.
You are too funny.
I didn't realize it until like somebody else said that it was him. It's like, who, what? I don't care enough to go back and look. But yeah.
That too.
Anything else stuck out for you?
No, I'm just glad it's over.
Oh, are you curious as to Drew's opinion of Portia now that she is engaged to someone else's husband?
I am, because I want to see does she still hold the same opinion of Portia that she did before.
Okay, so I'm not the only one. And the I don't know, Beelzebub, Jezebels. What was it that she was calling people?
Something of the Jezebels. Got that Jezebel spirit.
Oh yes, Jezebel spirit. I wonder if she's going to invoke that on her bestie Portia.
Or will she side with the other girls on this one?
That's what I'm interested. If they bring her back, I would be interested to see how that friendship develops. And that's about it. Anything else?
Nothing. This is a lackluster season.
Yeah, and this these 3 reunion episodes kind of mimic the season. Anywho, okay, so on to Married to Medicine, season 8, episode 10, Ain't No Party Like a Self-Love Party.
That was funny.
I figured you'd like that. Okay, so it opens up with Funky Dineva going back to Dr. Heavenly to get his teeth finished. Contessa tests positive for the COVID, and the whole cast has to go into quarantine for 14 days. Question for you. I know Contessa had it. Did Simone and Cecil get it?
I didn't see anything about them getting it.
Okay. I don't know why I thought they might have had it, but okay. All right. So Heavenly is doing these Zoom calls with everybody. They don't look happy to be there, but okay.
Right. They're there, so.
Everyone gets out of quarantine. Everyone tests. Everyone's okay. No more COVID. Contessa goes over to Quad's house. I love this. Quad sprays down Contessa with Lysol upon entering the home.
That was just too funny.
It was uncalled for, but hilarious. I loved it. I don't understand. Okay, so when Contessa said that her nanny quit and stole her dog, did you flash back to that first season lady that hated Contessa? Remember?
Oh, Miss Renee?
Yeah. She really wasn't the nanny, but Contessa says she was, and that woman just cussed her out and left or something. Do you think she stole a dog?
Possible, just to be spiteful.
Okay, so Contessa is still going around talking about Scott turning 50, and she said something else. She said that Scott told her that he was almost done with her when she decided to go back to school.
I believe it.
You do?
Because he was not happy about her going back to school. Like he
Oh,
was like
that's
dead set against it. So, and you could tell he wants to have his way. So I'm not surprised that he would say something like that.
wow. It's just that she's been ragging on him lately, and I
Mhm.
just chalk this up to like a pile on.
Okay.
I didn't like, yeah, I didn't remember that. That's a good point, Jamal. That's a good point. I'm rethinking this
Or
now.
he may have been feeling that way, but he just never expressed it to her. But now that he's so frustrated and upset, it
Um,
just came out.
okay. Do you really think that there's something like happening with this marriage, or is this a plot line?
Mm. I'm gonna err on the side of it being real. The reason why it's because of the issues they had before. You know, they've had issues for a couple of seasons now, and it starts with her going to school. So
Okay.
I think that this is definitely there's some reality here.
And I was also trying to think about this, and they're doing renovations to their house. There's the panorama going on. There's they're doing that practice together.
Hmm.
And I'm guessing that he is still in another practice.
I would assume so.
Yeah, until they get this one started up.
Hmm.
Like that's a lot. That's a
Right.
lot going on. Like one renovation can, destroy a marriage, but you're talking about
Hmm.
opening up a business plus a renovation plus the panorama plus kids at home plus you got two cousins living with you helping you with said kids. That's a lot.
Hmm.
That's a lot. Okay. I'm gonna rethink her scenes. I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt. Okay, so Toya goes over to Lisa Nicole's house.
Hmm.
Why does Toya have to walk with her own wine? First of all, can't you just drink what your host gives you? I
I
just thought this
mean,
was weird. Like, are you an
same.
alcoholic that you need to bring your own stash?
It's not good.
Mm-hmm. Um, Lisa said, well, Lisa brings up the Zoom call, or Toya brings up the Zoom call, or whatever, and Lisa says that Quad was kind of defending Toya, and I don't think Toya sees it that way.
I mean, she was defending her, but in a shady way.
Okay, but that's Quad. I think that's just her way of
Hmm.
friendship. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, I don't know. Maybe that's why her and Heavenly get along because they're both like that. There's always a
I
little
agree.
dig. Okay, so this is where Toya notices that there's something that Anila said something different. I don't know. This is the beginning of the breakdown with Toya and Anila for me. Like I didn't realize there was something happening there. And I also thought that she paid the makeup people, but whatever. Toya says she doesn't want to be friends with anyone who is tearing her down. Well, you need to find another show. And Jackie calls them and tells them that she's inviting them to her house for an event.
Jackie was so funny with doing that.
Did she say at the time that it was a sex party?
Not that I recall. No.
Okay. Next we see Simone coming home to Cecil at his part-time job of being a bartender at their basement bar. He admits to mastering his mixology skills during the panorama. And he makes her a drink, and we find out that their beloved dog Sam passed away.
It's always sad when animals pass away, especially when they've been with you so long.
But Cecil was dead wrong. Cecil was like, I could take the kids leaving. Hell, I could take you leaving. But when it come to Sam,
Right? Like, well, there we go.
a man and his dog. Jesus. Um, heavily takes Zachary to go and see this
Lake house.
poolside property, lake property, to do the flip. This is the overpriced one. He got his mom to go and see it. They get out there and she likes it. She's already done the comps. She's like, there's no other properties around this lake that are for sale in this price range. You know, it's not that bad. Only a few minor, you know, fixes here and there. And we could, instead of flip it, keep it and rent it.
Yep.
She's smart.
I love
underestimate her.
I love when she talks real estate.
Or finance.
Oh yeah, she's really, really good. I enjoy her.
So they're gonna put a bid on it. I love it. And good on Zachary for finding it. You know?
Even he did go over budget by $300,000, but still.
Yeah, but like,
it was a good find.
It was a good find, and I think intuitively he knows what his mom wants and likes.
Right.
And I think that's the hardest part of being in real estate, knowing what your client wants and likes and getting it right. And he knows his mom, so good for him. Is that the same son that's doing the dentistry with her too?
No. That's the other son.
That's the other son. Okay. So that's Damon Jr. Okay. And what is Zachary studying?
I don't know what he's studying, but I know he's back home and has a job, so I thought.
Okay. I got to keep her kids straight because the only one that I've known for all these years is Alara.
Alora, yep.
Alora. The boys are new to me, but I didn't watch last season.
But they weren't on that much though. They didn't like being on camera. They didn't like being on camera.
Okay. So I haven't missed anything. Okay, good. All right. So Jackie is at her house and she's prepping for a self-love event. I think this is when we find out what kind of event she's having. Her special guest is Shanice. Is that how you say?
Yes, Nisi.
But it's Chinese. That's how it was spelled, Chinese.
Oh, I paid no attention. I'm so sorry.
I did. I was confused for most of that. I had to go back and watch it. But okay. She is Jackie's like medical tech during the day and a self-love specialist at night. And then we find out that Nisi be doing the porn.
Nisi's all. Nisi's allowed to check now.
And she wants to help these ladies learn how to love themselves. Oh my God. Heavenly, like I thought Heavenly would be the most shocked about this. Simone just wants to get food. But Simone actually asks Anila if she's okay, and Anila confides in her. Well, actually, first she asked her, where's Toya? Anila didn't know. She asked her if she was okay, and that's where we find out that Anila is hearing that Toya's talking about her behind her back to like the people in their their neighborhood or whatever.
Right.
That's kind of screwed. Oof. You don't want people talking about you at the tennis courts, honestly. Okay, so then we go back to everybody gets their food and goes back to the table and starts eating, and then Quad's table starts talking about men with hooked penises. Captain Hook, ahoy there. Actually, we were talking about that on Heidi's show last night. But I digress. Do not watch that show. You alone, Jamal, are not allowed to watch that show.
Why?
You're not allowed to watch it. Toya arrives late to this event. Do you think Simone should... Okay, I agree with Simone for telling Anila that she needs to talk to Toya about this issue since she was so upset about it, right?
Correct.
But I would have said, don't do that shit here.
Right.
Do it privately at your house or at Toya's
Mhm.
house, you know?
That's where it all went wrong.
Um,
You don't do stuff like that in public because now you're bringing everyone into it because now it's a public conversation because you're airing
yes.
it out in front of everybody, so now everyone can give their own opinion.
But I thought she would have had like common sense. Was I
You would
wishing for
think
too
so.
much?
You think so, but like when you're emotional, you're upset. You just don't think.
Okay, I'll give you that. And it's her first season.
Mhm.
I'm sure that she'll learn moving forward.
Oh yes, she will.
Okay, so Toya comes in late. She says she's social distancing from Quad and Heavenly, and she doesn't want to take off her mask. So she goes to sit next to Anila. And then she sees Anila's face and she's like, well, what's wrong with you? You know, and Anila just goes straight in. And I didn't like, I hate to say this, like, I thought they were friends. I
Mhm.
really did. And I would never do to a friend and say, like, she's telling me something about how she's feeling, and then me respond with, well, you're crazy.
Exactly. When people say you're crazy, that means they're trying to make you believe that what you said happened didn't happen when they know it happened. So this just shows you like their friendship is not that deep though.
She calls her drama queen.
Mhm.
Like,
And a ding
Anila has a right to be upset.
and a
If,
dingbat.
yeah, a dingbat. Yes, I forgot about
Mhm.
that. Okay, so yeah, I didn't like the tone of this conversation. Do I think it was the right place, right time? No.
Mm-mm.
But I don't like she just totally stepped on Anila's feelings. And
Most
that was supposed
definitely.
to be your friend.
Exactly.
But is this a habit with Toya always doing this to her friends?
Yeah, she eventually falls out with everybody.
Okay. Okay. Well, the others are noticing the heated conversation going on at the other table, but they're staying clear, thank goodness. And Nisi starts her presentation. And Toya and Anila stay separate with their conversation. I have to say the highlight of this entire episode for me was Heavenly's confessionals. They were funny, they were outlandish, they put a toe over the line and then
Mm-hmm.
pulled it back again. She is everything in a confessional.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. Oh my god, now I see where everybody gets angry at her. um okay, so Toya kind of apologizes, sort of.
Sort of.
Yeah, Anila thinks that the apology was dismissive, but she takes it anyway. Nisi starts giving out gifts to all of the women based on their freak number. At the end, everyone gets assorted gifts like butt
Mm-hmm.
plugs and vibrators and all of that. I guess Contessa claimed that she had the highest freak number, so she was brought up to the front. She was blindfolded. She was bound and then bent over and flogged. She did not flinch.
Nope.
Okay, girl.
She
I'm really
looked quite
reevaluating you.
she looked quite comfortable.
Yes, she did.
I'm just saying.
Yes, she did. She
Like she
did
was very
not
comfortable.
flinch. Okay. All right. So, then, well, that was that. Toya is tired of fighting with the women in this group, and them adding stress to her life. She just had a miserable time at this event, and I think Contessa was the VIP of that event. Go girl. Um, The next scene is we see Quad going to Heavenly's house. I did not like Quad becoming, the nosy auntie with Alara. Come on now. We all know that she's, a teenager. She's not going to admit to any of that crap. Um, Heavenly apparently upgraded her furniture. Quad compliments her on it. They start talking about Toya and her behavior at Jackie's party. My takeaway from this scene was when Quad said that Toya's smelling herself. Now she got a house. And Heavenly, in true Heavenly fashion, says that Toya is going through a lot and she will pray for her. Interesting. Okay, so that was the episode, basically.
It was good. It was a really good, solid episode because we could see the storyline moving forward and the friendships and how there's like Toya and Neela, how that's cracking. I'm here for Married to Medicine this season. I wish some of the old ladies were back. I wish Mariah was back because I think she's needed for the show because they have such a good dynamic with her there.
Okay, and so far for Anila, good, bad, indifferent.
She's okay. Like she's speaking her mind. I like that. She's not cowering to the ladies just because they've been there longer. So I appreciate that about her.
Okay, so of the two, Carrie and Lisa Nicole, like Carrie gave me more bang for the buck over Lisa Nicole. What about you?
Yeah, same.
Yeah? Okay.
I like Carrie in season 2 though. But we all know she got kicked out because she kicked Mariah out of her house season 2. That's what happened. So it was the two husbands, Aiden and Duncan, had a joint birthday. I guess Mariah, I think it was Mariah, was it season 1, season 2? Well, one of the seasons where, I think it was season 1, the joint birthday? I have to go back and check, but either way, one of the seasons, I think it was when Toya and Mariah got in a fight, and it was at their house, so Carrie kicked everybody out. Including Mariah and Aiden. And she didn't come back that next season.
Oh my God.
Because you notice Carrie didn't come back around to Mariah's not on the show.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Now that I've noticed, Carrie hasn't been on the show since Mariah's been on the show. Like I don't think we've seen Mariah and Carrie on the show together since that season.
Interesting. Look how you put all the puzzle pieces together.
And Toya needed backup this season too, because she had nobody.
She needs friends. Okay, so on to the next show. Okay, so this is Below Deck Sailing Yacht, season 2, episode 11, Crash Boom Bang. Next. This is what we've been waiting for all season. And who would have thought it was not 1 but 2 crashes into the dock?
Still next.
Wow. No, but like we could skip over. We could skip over all of like the triangle or whatever.
Right. They are still going at that triangle.
I don't care about that at all. At all. The first crash, they were super, super lucky because all they got was like a scratch.
Right.
On the hull. That's all they got. But do you see how those boats can be impacted by high winds? And then who would have known that if you pull the plug on the shore power, that and I should know this, the generator won't like automatically turn on like that. So you are sitting like a sitting duck right there. That is crazy. But then the second crash, he had no power. Did you notice that? He had no power. And then when he got the power, it sent the boat straight into the dock. And did you see the pier crumple?
Yep.
That is a major, major issue. You have messed with the integrity of the dock. Like, that is crazy. The first crash, I was clutching my pearls. The second crash at the end of the episode, I was on the floor. I was done. I was like, oh my God.
I felt so bad for them because You have no power, and then when you get the power back, it just sends you. Essentially, you had nothing you could do. Like they were stuck. It was nothing.
Oh my
No
God.
adjustments, no maneuvering. It was just no, and I felt so bad. And they worked so hard through
Mm-hmm.
the first crash, and then have the
Mm-hmm.
second one happen is like, oh my goodness, I felt really, really bad.
I don't know. Like, honestly, I hope Colin was trying to check. Like if I was the engineer, from the time we had that first crash and then the cut of shore power
Hmm.
and the generator, and someone who Gary's very well rounded, but he's not an engineer.
Right.
If I was Colin, I would have been down there, like double checking and rechecking and seeing if there's a procedure in which you restart an engine on like a vessel or
Right.
plane or something
That
like
makes
that.
sense.
I would have been down there and testing that, because I'm suspicious that the power failure at the helm
Hmm.
might be a repercussion of a bad startup. And I'm not blaming Gary. I'm not
No,
blaming Gary.
but he's not. But he's not
But
an engineer though.
yes,
He
you
would not.
know,
He would not know those exact protocols.
yeah. And that like when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, this is, and also the second thing that ran through my mind, this is why it's so dangerous when you are a longshoreman or a stevedore, whatever, anyone who is handling the ropes from the dock side.
Mhm.
Because if that boat or any vessel was going at full speed and you're standing up there, of course you're going to have a chance to run if you see that it's not slowing down.
Mhm.
But this boat all of a sudden kicked into reverse. What if the guys were there waiting for the ropes?
Right.
You saw how that cement crumpled. Like, that's super, super dangerous. People could have lost their lives in that incident. There were so many areas where people could have lost their lives, like when that rope snapped off
Right.
in the first crash, when they were trying in the first incident, when they were trying to push the boat off of the dock. Stupid. Yeah, that was crazy to me. And then it was so good. Who would have known it was two crashes?
Yeah, I thought it was just one.
The insurance adjusters are going to be so happy that there was film crew on this vessel, because they're not going to want to pay out for this.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so yeah, that those are the highlights of the
That
show
was
for me.
it. And it was
Yeah, those are
great.
the
See,
highlights. Yeah.
they got through one, couldn't get through the other one. So I was happy they got through the one.
Yeah, I'm guessing that charter that they were going to pick up is not going to happen.
Hmm.
And I'm guessing that this is the end of the season.
I would think so.
There has to be a hull breach now. You can't do a charter with a breach in the hull.
Mm-mm.
Sorry. Okay, so on to the next show.
Yep.
Okay, so this is the Real Housewives of Dallas season 5, episode 18, reunion part 2, and I think this is it for them.
Hmm.
Yes? Okay, so what were your takeaways from this?
I mean, Cameron really doesn't have self awareness. She just really doesn't, or she's ignorant, or both. Because you're ignorant, and when Tiffany called her ignorant, I was like, oof, oof,
Yeah.
ouch. And you know, Cam did apologize, and Tiffany did agree to move forward. I'm like, okay, we'll see. Like, I'm a wait and see person. I need to see a change in your behavior before I fully accept your apology, but we'll take baby steps and see how it goes. Then with let's see, Stephanie didn't say too much. I don't think. I don't recall too much from Stephanie because there was nothing really focused on her. You know,
Mm-hmm.
she was pretty
She
much.
was kind of the mediator throughout this, like the
Mhm.
voice of reason throughout this entire season. She didn't get in any trouble.
Exactly. And then this is where we found out a lot about Deandra. I didn't
Oh,
know baby was coins like that. Andy was digging, and when he said 30 million, she said much more. And then when
mm,
she broke it down, I'm like, oh, you from oil money. Damn, no wonder Cameron can't stand you.
of course. Why all of them can't stand her? Because that's the first thing that when they want to attack her, it's about that she's on an allowance.
But baby, like when she broke out like that, I'm like, hold up. This gave me more insight to why Cam looks down or tries to look down upon D'Angelo and her behavior. It's because, oh, you're mad because D'Angelo was born into money and then adopted into more money. You're just
Mm-hmm.
jealous that you had to marry into it. Okay, that makes sense. And when she said that the will gave in lieu, it's interesting, in lieu of child support,
Mm-hmm.
she was to inherit everything. I'm like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I got it. And then her what stepmother and her half brother were upset. I'm like, well, how are they upset with you when the will says she gets everything, but she split it down the middle?
Yeah,
How are
she
you
didn't
mad at
have
that?
to. Yeah, she didn't have to.
No. Then the cool thing what she did was her brother wanted to sell part of his inheritance, and she's like, no, I stepped in and bought it because why would I let another family own it? I'm like, that was smart. She's also now I own 75%.
I think that's why they mad.
That's why they mad.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion. I
Yeah.
think that she has controlling interest in the family business, and they can't handle it. But you're okay for selling to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't want her to be majority owner. But even if you sold it to her, and you sold it to someone else, you still wouldn't be equal. So what does it matter?
Exactly. Exactly. But you know what? I loved it that she clarified because everybody is like on her because she changed her last names to the second
Mm-hmm.
to the stepfather's name,
Mm-hmm.
Simmons. But everyone thinks that she did it for money. I like how
Mm-hmm.
she clarified that my real daddy had more money than the
Right.
Simmons.
And
Let's
did you
be clear.
but did you see how all their faces cracked when she
Yup.
put that out there?
Yep. She said, I changed my name because Simmons was the man who raised me, who was there for me. I was sick. He was the one who took me to the hospital. And
Mm-hmm.
then when I came home, he was the one who made sure I always had my doctor's visits and made sure I was good. He was like a dad to her. So it was an emotional thing why she changed her name. But her coin came from that sperm donor that was her biological daddy. So don't get it twisted that she changed her name for money. No, she didn't. And she didn't do it for clout neither because she didn't need it. She had her daddy's money.
And the stepdaddy went with her
Mm-hmm.
and asked her, "Are you sure you want to do this?"
Yep. Yep. Like, I'm
And that,
glad she made that distinction.
and while I don't respect, I like Mama D, love Mama D, but that story she came up with is like, no, that wasn't right. Deandra had a right to
Mm-hmm.
be mad, but Deandra did feel bad about how she spoke to her mother,
Mm-hmm.
and she was drunk, so she was just. But I enjoy actually hearing the real story behind her family. I'm like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
so I would always wonder like why is like Cam coming down so hard on Tiandra? This just seems out of place, out of nowhere. You seem to be really extra picky
Mm-hmm.
because she just figured like, oh, you're just. I bet you she was one of those girls. Now you're gonna use this word girl because of the way she acts. I bet she's one of those girls who would talk about Deanna like, oh, the way she acts is not it's not becoming of a Simmons,
Mm-hmm.
and
It's
she was
not
one of
ladylike.
those.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, while Deanna's like, baby, like I'm coined like you're more than you'll ever be, and this had Cam seething
Mm-hmm.
because she feels that she is one of the Dallas elite, and I've actually talked to some people whose family come from that kind of society, and I asked them, and they do watch Dallas, by the way. I said, like, am I understanding Cam's attitude? Is Cam a little bit insecure because she had to marry into a societal family where Deandra was actually adopted into a society? And they're like, well, yeah, that tends to happen, because whether they believe it or not, people who marry into societal families, they're not looked upon like as a part of. They're
Yeah.
more like that. They're like, you wouldn't be at this table without marrying
Without
into. So we don't.
him.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
want. We don't need to hear from you. Whereas Deandra, like,
Oh.
she like, as she brought out, she had I guess the Callaway money from the oil, and then she was adopted into the Simmons, which was a very prominent name in Dallas. So Deandra was like adopted, like she was wanted, like she was. It was okay,
Mm-hmm.
She didn't have to marry into. And Deandra married a cool photographer, like and veteran. Deandra didn't have to marry for money. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
another sore spot for Cam. Like, look at Tiffany. Tiffany's extremely accomplished. Tiffany is extremely like intelligent. She has her own money, and she married into a family with who has money. So, for what I've seen with Cam, she has issues with women who are actually accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
Like, more issues with accomplished women who are accomplished on their own merit. Like, she's had issues with every woman on the cast. Let's be honest. But
Oh.
she every woman she's like pretty much fell out with. But when it comes down to the more successful women, she has an even bigger issue. Like the way she came at Tiffany, completely inappropriate. You're trying to bring out this pink box, but you hear what Andy read her though. That took me out. When
When?
he said this, he's all Cam. This is a Real Housewives reunion. You're going to do better on the receipts. I was like,
Oh, yes. I was
red.
like, Shady Andy strikes again. But
He
he
wasn't
was
lying
right,
though.
though.
He was right.
Like, you can't beat binder times. Like,
That's
you come up there with
was
a whole suitcase and nothing in it. Eh.
with some
But
screenshots.
can Cam also be jealous of Deandra's professional career, like her work in DC and the political ins and outs? So she
Mm-hmm.
also has society plus political inroads, like oil,
And
and
Deandra's
then you got real
smart.
estate. God.
Deandra's intelligent. Like, this is why when I break it down, like, okay, she's come hardest at Tiffany and Deandra. Why? Okay, these are
Mm-hmm.
the similarities. These
Mm-hmm.
are similarities. So I'm like, okay, this kind of makes sense because she was
Yeah.
kind of Tiffany. Yeah, Tiffany was awkward and she was, she did some things I disagree with, like the rules. Like, come on, calm down. But she acknowledged what she did wrong, and that's the thing with
Mm-hmm.
Tiffany. Tiffany has grown so much in one season. I've never seen this before. Like, you could see her growth, and
Mm-hmm.
but she's very self aware, and most times that works against you. But this time it helped her navigate the season, and she came out on the other side. Like, I hope she comes back. I really, really
Look,
do.
Tiffany is a very smart girl, and she picks up real quick. So she might have started off with her
Mm-hmm.
Excel spreadsheets navigating her everyday life. But then a few encounters with these women, she realized that she might not actually be able to swim, but she was thrown into the deep end and she made a decision to sink or swim, and she started figuring out the doggy paddle. She assimilated, and her intelligence held her throughout this entire season to not be bullied, to defend herself, to know when enough is enough. I gotta go
Mm-hmm.
home because I got a real job. Um, and even in the reunion, I think she stopped taking it so seriously,
Mm-hmm.
relied on her common sense and knowing what's right for Tiffany Moon, Sun
Mm-hmm.
Moon, or whatever her name is, and taking these bitches down one after, or just basically Cameron, because Cameron was the only one that was really
Mm-hmm.
coming for her. I think Carrie gave up because Carrie going through a lot and probably stopped drinking. Or the COVID took over. But with Cameron, she was priceless with her. She had no more F's to give, and she realized that that person is not going to understand what she's saying.
When Cameron was like, well, look, when Timmy said, nah, babe, I'm going from memory. And then they cut to Stephanie, and Stephanie said, well, yep. No one backed Cameron. And
it was sad.
For me, that's the only reason she apologized, because she got no backup. Zero. None.
Now, the other portion of this was Andy then targeted, let me not say targeted. Andy then shifted over to Brandy. Child, they started talking about her unknown pregnancy, about her husband, the video in Vegas at the bachelor party, her, rest in peace, her mother-in-law passing away. I didn't know her daughter was in the same car in the same accident. Like, this was a huge segment where he went in on Brandy. Damn. No wonder why she ain't coming back.
Allegedly. Allegedly. But it was a good segment for Brandy. You know, Brandy works my nerve. And for the most part, she always has. But I enjoyed her in this segment because she actually acknowledged that he cheated.
I was shocked.
That was grown of her. And she was upset, and they were like checking in on her. I mean, this kind of makes sense. And what I didn't like after hearing this was like, you know what? You try to pin all of these issues on Tiffany and the whole video game. It wasn't about that. Yeah, maybe a little bit, but it was mostly about the fact that these videos came out. And she was dead wrong for me.
Oh, see, I didn't realize the timeline.
I'm just piecing it together. I think the videos came out during the season. I think everything happened in like a short window, is what it seems like.
Which video? The Asian video or the husband video?
The Asian video came out first, pre-season. Right. But then I think that we found out about the video was circulating during the season.
Oh.
So it happened in a short time frame, and then you add in, the mother-in-law passing. But what I'm saying is, yes, part of it, of course, could have been the hate she was getting for the insensitive video. But then you need to acknowledge the fact that, also a big part of it was the fact that I found out my husband was in Vegas cheating. You can't put everything on one thing and then just want it to be just that thing. It's not fair to Tiffany, because you took the brunt of it off on Tiffany when it was really, you had multiple issues going on. That just wasn't right.
Wow.
Because the reason why I say the timeline is so short is because everything came we found out things one after the other within the same filming season. So I'm just piecing it together based on what I can see.
So basically, she just projected all of her like angst and animosity with regards to family issues onto poor Tiffany.
She took the angst. I think part of it had to do with the video. I do, because from what I remember,
the Asian video.
Correct.
Okay.
So what happens is, when she took the angst she got from her husband's video coming out, right? You take that angst, but you pour it into saying it's about the insensitive video, and then therefore transferring it onto Tiffany, versus saying, you know what, I got hate for the insensitive video, but then when I found out my husband cheated, that is added onto it, and unfortunately, it all came out on Tiffany.
But Tiffany never did anything to her, so I don't understand why she was just always pretending she was so uncomfortable around
She was
Tiffany.
uncomfortable because, how can I put this? You know how when you're the only you walk in and you're the only minority in the room,
Oh, yeah.
and you can feel like how people's demeanors shift. Like
Mm-hmm.
they feel like they have to go out of their way to like not be offensive.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it was. It wasn't like she really did anything to. She was blaming Tiffany for her own mental gymnastics. But,
Interesting.
but then again, here's the thing: playing devil's advocate. If you hold no prejudice or bigotry in your heart,
Mm-hmm.
why would you worry about offending someone on a racial level? That's my question. What makes you think you would say something to offend this person on a racial level if you had not done it multiple times before?
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
So that's where I'm thinking, because you know if you don't say it on a regular, it shouldn't come out in your everyday speech.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're acting this way, what that tells me is you feel you need to censor yourself around this person in some way, which makes me look at you some kind of way.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. Um,
But I will say this, Stephanie, she won me. She blew me away this season. I've always liked Stephanie, because she's always herself. I mean,
mm-hmm.
always, and she made, like you said, the voice of reason made so much sense.
Mm-hmm.
When she was talking to the girl, she's like, "Well, no, this is what happened," and she's not mean, but she speaks the truth, and she just says it plainly.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the fact that she held Brandy accountable this season. Like, no, this is Brandy. This is on you. This has nothing to do
And
with
Carrie.
Tiffany and
She
Carrie.
held
She
and
held,
Carrie too.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, y'all, this is what she's not the young dumb blonde girl we thought she was or what she gave us. She's come into her own. Like
I will
previous
agree with that.
because previous seasons she would have never talked back to Travis the way she does now.
She's changed a lot for me.
That's growth.
And granted, I've missed a few seasons,
Hmm?
but she's not the same person who started in season 1.
And you shouldn't
Her
be.
her dynamic with her husband, her family, totally changed. Her relationships and how she manages them, and I will say that word correctly, manages her
Hmm.
relationships with these women. It's masterful. She's the one who's come in and exited the season without any sort of argument with anyone at all.
Mm-mm.
She's been
She
the
seems
pacifier and the mediator throughout.
she seems so much secure in herself, and it
Mm-hmm.
was great to see. And then I do like the fact that towards the end, like she regretted like saying Tiffany was braggy.
Yeah.
I, I do like that because here's nice
Oh,
talking
the
to someone
closet
else. The
comment.
closet.
Yes.
So I
Mm-hmm.
was talking to someone else, and I'm like, well, for me, the first place women want to see in another woman's home is her closet.
Mm-hmm.
Especially women who have money. Like, what are you into? What do you have? And for me, Tiffany's closet was like I thought it was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I like seeing setups. Like, you know, I've never heard someone say it was braggy because you all like the thing is, to me, bragging would be if you weren't on the same financial level. You guys are all pretty much
Mm.
on the same financial playing field. So you shouldn't have felt, in my opinion, Stephanie shouldn't have felt some sort of way. Tiffany worked super hard to have these things, and people need to understand and remember. Tiffany doesn't sit back and wait for her husband to buy her things. If she wants to go buy herself things, she can go buy her. She can go and write her own check.
Yeah, because she's the one who buys her mom the Porsche, right?
Right.
She's the one who takes care of her parents. in their house. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, she's an independent woman who got a whole job. She a
A whole
professional.
job.
She a doctor.
Now I
A
think
whole doctor.
Deandra. I know we're at the end now because I
Mm-hmm.
think we've hit on the two biggest points of the reunion.
Mm-hmm.
Now in the since we're in the apology section, Deandra blew me away there. She was so good and she was
That
so
she didn't
right.
come to her defense, to Tiffany's
Hmm.
defense. I wasn't going to let us end without hitting on that, because she was so sincere in that, and she realized her error and that she failed her friend.
And you could tell how close they are because
Mm-hmm.
the way they feel, and Mama D's close to Tiffany too, and
Mm-hmm.
she just I think with Deandra, she was kind of overwhelmed this season a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
so she wasn't really there for her friend. I think she would be normally.
Mm-hmm.
I think she didn't really know how to have that conversation or start the conversation with these other ladies.
Mm-hmm.
And then going back to Brandy, what do you think about what Andy asked her about? You pulled out a chair for Leanne last season. Like, do you think a chair should be pulled out for you if you were here? And Brandy's like, oh, I will pull a chair out for myself. That's a lie. Stop it. I don't like that fake contrived stuff. That's a
I
lie.
didn't understand that part, because I didn't watch. Who
So
pulled out? Did somebody pull a chair
Brandy did.
away and she
Yeah.
fell?
No, Brandy. So last season, Brandy, like, they didn't want Leanne to sit next to them, so she pulled out a chair for Leanne to sit in the middle of the room when they went over Leanne's racist comments. Yes, she like blatantly singles her out for that. And Andy was basically asking her, "Do you feel like you deserve the same treatment?" And Brandy's like, "Oh yeah, I would have. If I were there, I would have pulled the chair out for myself." I'm like, "You lying?"
Oh my God, that went completely over my head. I wasn't quite getting it. I was just like, oh, they're like, is that etiquette in Dallas? Like, women
That's what it
pulling
was.
out chairs for women? I did not get that, but thank you for explaining that for sure. The last thing I wanted to touch on, poor Tiffany gets a nosebleed at the very end. You could tell that was
Yeah,
stress.
yeah. She's all having to read Cam all night just to stress me out.
Oh my God. Do you think she's gonna come back?
I don't know. We can only hope because she was like the breath of fresh air that this franchise needed, and because I think the ladies are in such a good trajectory, I would love to see everybody come back.
I just want to see her continuously put Cam down. Like, she can't stop now.
I mean,
Because if I
she
came
just
back
went
next
in.
season, if I was her, I would be correcting her every episode. I would be calling her a dingbat or whatever. Like, everything that she hate, I'd be like, bitch, come back to next reunion with an even bigger suitcase.
Like Cam flopped so hard, and that's why she got roasted on Twitter so bad, which she deserved. They ate her up on Twitter. I'm like, this is what you get because you just being
Wow.
ridiculous.
Gotta admit, she shoots for the stars, though. Of all the people that you decide you're going to target, you targeting the smartest person in your group. Okay.
Right. Like, good luck with that. Good
Okay,
luck with it.
so anything else regarding the Dallas gals?
No.
Okay, so we'll see them next season, hopefully. And Tiffany, please come back. Okay, so on to the Real Housewives of New Jersey, season 11, episode 13, The House of Horrors. This was their season finale.
That was quick.
Like 13 episodes? Like,
But I'm
wow.
not. I'm not mad at it though, because
I
I'm not.
know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, this was kind of like a Bell Collective. We really enjoyed that in and out.
Yeah. It's just easier that way.
Okay, so basically, this whole episode centered around Teresa talking about her boyfriend in the beginning. Um, then we saw a little bit of Dolores, and then basically the whole episode was tied around Margaret finishing her renovation, poor Joe, and throwing this Halloween / Joe birthday party.
I'm going to need Fallon to watch this tape. Fallon, this is how you throw a Halloween party. Just
Oh
saying.
my God.
Just saying.
Okay, at the birthday party, I know I'm jumping ahead, but did you see the coffin with the crab
Yes,
legs sticking out?
yes.
The hell? You gotta love
I
the food on this show.
I was left with so many doggy bags. I'm not going to even say
You'd
and
have been like
lie.
Sonia Morgan.
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay, so what do you want to start on first?
I just said we just go through the episode because if we're there were little tidbits, but there really wasn't much there.
Okay, so what did you think about? We finally meet Louis,
Mhm.
Teresa's boyfriend. What did you think of him?
He seemed pleasant enough. I mean, just like nice guy. Respectful, and seemed friendly, and he seemed to like Teresa. So I'm all here for it. Anyone who treats someone well. I'm here for.
Okay, I just wonder, like, okay, these people come on these reality shows and think, everything's gonna be cool, it'll be fun, it'll be just for larks. And then all of a sudden we find out that they owe back taxes and they're being investigated by the IRS and the feds want them for this, that, the other, third. I'm just waiting for that to happen to Louis.
Yeah, when you're an entrepreneur, it's kind of unless you're really on top of it or your finance team is on part, it's easy to get caught up like that. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see.
Okay, so Margaret, we saw her nagging her poor husband to get all of the renovations done in 4 days in time for the party.
In time for his party. Huh.
Yeah. Let's see. We see tension between Melissa and Joe Gorga. If this is storyline, I will say this. If this is for a storyline, you better be careful when you playing around with saying that, y'all got a bad marriage when y'all really don't,
Hmm.
because that comes back around to bite you in your butt. I'm
Yep.
just saying. So be very careful, Gorgas. You don't want to speak that negativity into existence.
Right.
Then we see, I forgot, the celebration of the 18th wedding anniversary for Jennifer and Bill. They set up a beautiful table in their entry foyer. They have a private chef come in and cook up beautiful gourmet food that was wasted on those savage children. I would have eaten it though. And then he reproposes to her and presents her with a 9-carat yellow diamond ring in a halo setting with white diamonds, diamonds around the band as well. It was a hunker. It's
It
nice.
was. I mean, I wouldn't call those kids savages. They're a very spirited group. I will say that they would wear me out, but I'm not a child fan anyway. But the food kind of was wasted on them a little bit. I think I would have
Mm-hmm.
if I were the chef. What I would just given them the same food, but in more kid friendly form.
I would have given them a hot dog or a hamburger and some French fries.
Yeah, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you could use the same ingredients but put it into a burger, something like that. Some of the kids will elevated American food basically. Like they can have like a bison burger or whatever, a Kobe burger. So same food, kid form.
I would have opened up a can of Vienna sausages and threw it at them.
You just have an aversion to children. That's all.
Okay, it's all right. My life is full.
Pretty much.
Then we go over to Dolores's house. This is yet another one of her houses that she's getting Frank to do some renovations on. They go back and forth. I love their banter. It's like they never got divorced.
They're so funny.
And Frank gives her the best advice out of the whole season with regards to her relationship with David. He said, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. And that don't take on what Joe Gorga said. Joe
Mm-hmm.
Gorga is broken because he never grew past 5'2".
They're too funny.
And I thought that was I love their relationship. I really do.
They have a very good friend relationship, like a
Mm-hmm.
very good friend relationship, and you can just see the caring there. They
Mm-hmm.
are divorced. You know what I mean?
Yep. Okay, so then we see Teresa with her girls making an apple pie. Everyone's getting ready for the party. And then we find out that Joe did complete all the renovations. Thank goodness. We see the whole decor from the inside to the outside where the party's at. Again, that amazing coffin with the crab legs crawling out was the bomb. She had cronuts with like a raspberry glaze on the top. Those looked good, and I don't even like cronuts, but those look good. The whole spread was really nice, which made me wonder why Jen was saying that there was no food. There was a buttload of food there.
Exactly.
And then when she does get food, she throws it all over the floor. Like, I didn't get that. Like, somebody need to take her home. But what did you think about the husband putting her on the 2-shot limit for the event?
I think it was the right thing to do. Totally think it's the right thing to do. It's just like her and alcohol just is not. She's not. It's just something going on with that. So
She wound up getting white girl wasted and screaming out about getting laser hair removal on her crotch while putting her leg up on a banister. Like, I'm sorry, but happy 18th anniversary to you, Bill.
Right.
Wow. Dolores is at the party, and she says she doesn't really mind what Joe said to her. She understands where he's coming from. He's a Neanderthal. That's it. It's expected. But what
That
she is
but the thing is that, sorry to interrupt, but it's that, and they've known each other so long, so it's context, and that's what I was when I was watching. Like, it's everything's in context. You can feel how you want to feel, but what people aren't understanding, they're trying to make it out like Joe was coming from a bad place. He's not coming from a bad place. But he knows, and Dolores knows his banter and their style, so that's why he felt he could say like that. And like, I have friends who I've had like 10+ years, and sometimes when we talk to each other, we say some stuff. People be like, "Why would you say that? Why would you say it that way?" Like, well, you're not in this friendship, so shut up and be quiet. So that's how I felt about the whole Dolores situation. They need to separate the fact, like Dolores has said that she was not offended by what Joe said. She understood where he was coming from. And if she understands where he's coming from, it's not for you to be offended on her behalf. I'm sorry. I do not like that.
And Joe said he's known her since he was 5 years old.
Right.
Since he was 5 years old. So this is decades long friendship. That's like an older sister to him. So the same way he talked to Teresa, he's going to talk to Dolores.
And you could tell he loves Dolores. Like, I mean, because you don't say stuff like that. When you say stuff like that to someone, you're trying to shake them and wake them up. So I felt like Margaret being offended was like, I'm like, well, Marge, love you. I think you're great, but in this situation, it's not your place to be offended. My thing is this: if you like it, I love it.
Yeah, and you know, Dolores holds firm. What she is offended by is that her friends took a poll at a stranger's party about her personal life. Not cool, ladies. And stop trying to deflect from what you did wrong, ladies, and trying to push it on Joe Gorga. That's what Margaret was doing.
Right. And Jackie was the only one to stand up and say, yeah, I said it.
But Jackie always sits in her own swill. She don't care. You know,
that's why I like Jackie. That's why I like Jackie. She was the first and only one to say, yep, I was there. This is how I voted, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My bad.
But Margaret, I'm very proud of how Joe kept his cool when Margaret went over and confronted him about being a chauvinist. I don't think he's a chauvinist.
He didn't confront her, though. She didn't confront him. She didn't. No, the way it happened. No. He went up to it wasn't. She didn't confront him. What it was, he went to her after she gave the speech to Joe about Joe, I should say, because she appreciated him. Then what he brought it up, and Melissa asked him not to.
Oh yeah. Well, from the beginning, from like at home when they were dressing, she's like, I don't want this to come up during the night.
Mm-hmm.
But did she want him to apologize
I don't
to
think it was more.
Dolores?
I don't think it was more. I think she was just trying to let him know about his thought process.
Mm.
It wasn't so much an apology. She just wanted to let him know what was going on and like how Dolores felt, you know. But that's not how Dolores felt though. Again, like they're not owning what they did wrong. So you're completely right there.
Mm. Oh yeah, I do see it. Joe goes over to Margaret and asks her if he's a chauvinist. And she says that what he said to Dolores is chauvinistic. So not that he's a chauvinist, but what he said is chauvinistic.
Right.
And he says no, he just calls people out. And then Margaret goes on to say something about she doesn't want Melissa to be held back.
Right, and that's another thing. That's a misconception. So, if you recall, he has always supported Melissa
financially, emotionally, everything, in all of her endeavors.
Right. What it is, and what he's not really saying is, babe, you're doing all this stuff, blah 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 blah. You used to ask me, and now you want to do it by yourself. He's like, I just want to be a part of it with you. He's like, I want to support you all the way through. You know, why aren't you? He wants to be included. That's all.
Yeah, because he says something in the beginning. She used to take me to all of the events, and now she goes by herself. I'm like, so are you lonely?
No, he's like, he wants to be the guy that supports his wife fully and be by her side always. He doesn't want to be like left behind. He's like, if I'm supporting you all this time, all this way, why are you all of a sudden leaving me, like, and not inviting me? So
or does he not
get
trust
that.
her?
I don't think it's that at all. Because if he didn't trust her, he would probably have like her phone and car wired and bugged and stuff. So I don't like he's not. To me, he's not that insecure.
Okay, so then so there's two different areas where stuff is happening. It's Margaret and Joe Gorga, and then over by Dolores where she's sitting down, and Melissa's over there. And somehow the conversation gets turned on Melissa's relationship with Joe Gorga.
Due to his behavior. They feel like his behavior is hindering her.
But how we get on that?
Due to his chauvinistic ways. Or the perceived chauvinistic ways, I'll put it that way.
But Dolores gives her a couple of words of warning.
Yeah.
Melissa doesn't take kindly to the opinions shared on her relationship. But she says something odd. She's like, if you're trying to think about what's happening in my relationship, it's probably like 10 times worse.
Right.
What?
And she's just saying there are issues, but I don't want to hear about it from you. That's basically what it is.
And Dolores says that, like, you know, she's been down that path before, and she knows that how the story ends, and it's not good.
Because Dolores has been through it, so she knows the signs.
Melissa is so heated that she gets Joe Gorga, and they leave the party early. And that's the end of the episode, right? Is there anything that I missed? Because I know I jumped around a bit.
No, that was it. It was a solid ending episode.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy that I was not expecting this to be the season finale. That's the honest truth. I was not expecting that. That was kind of a shocker for me, since everything else went a bit longer.
Right.
Like even Dallas went to almost 20 episodes. Interesting. Okay, so again, guys, this was our Bravo Week in Review, where we reviewed The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Married to Medicine, Below Deck Sailing Yacht, The Real Housewives of Dallas, and The Real Housewives of New Jersey. Leave us your comments below. Let us know what you thought about each of these shows. I will put the timestamps in as usual so that if you don't watch all of the shows, you could only pick out which ones you want to hear our reviews on. Please hit that thumbs up button on your way out. Hit the subscribe button, notification bell, and most importantly, tell a friend. Any final words, Jamal?
No, I think we're good. This is a good, short, solid season, so I'm not mad at it.
Yep, this was good. So we're saying goodbye to Atlanta. We're saying goodbye to Dallas. And the reunion is coming up for New Jersey. That should be fun.
Yeah, if it's 3 parts, I'm gonna like scream. It should be 2 at most.
And coming up on the docket, we have joining our new Housewives of New York City. We have Beverly Hills coming back on the 18th. I might be wrong. I might be wrong on that. But it's coming up soon. So check your local listings on Bravo to see when The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills returns. That I'm optimistic.
Right. But I'm gonna hold my optimism because the reason why the whole season revolves around Erica, and if she doesn't like tell the truth, it's gonna be a dead.
Yeah. So I'll reserve judgment. I'll try my best to give her the benefit of the doubt, but based on her history on this show, I don't see her being very forthcoming. She'll find any excuse not to.
Of course.
That's it. Okay, Jamal.
Yep.
Until next time.
Of course.
Bye.
Bye.